Allah knows all about me. Well, Taimiyyah was a complete surprise. It was like, wow. And everything was actually going fine until like at about just before 6 months of pregnancy, I started feeling a bit different, like quite heavy and tired all the time. And then like that end of that week, it was a bank holiday when I started getting contractions. And they intensified over the weekend, and by Monday, my waters just suddenly broke.
Myself and Derek discussed having a child together, and we thought because we were a bit older, we'll just see. If it happens, it happens. If it didn't, it didn't. A month later, I found out I was pregnant with Joshua, and then at 24 weeks, I started having pains, like labour pains. So my waters broke, which was quite scary. The ambulance seemed to take ages to get there. When they did, it was decided that they were going to take me into hospital.
The midwife had put IV on me and everything. I was like, no, I just want to go home. I'll come back. I don't know why I was thinking that, but but then they did an emergency section and then they took her away.
I went in the ambulance. Derek had to follow in the car. On the way there, I actually delivered.
Just couldn't believe how small he was, and to be honest, the chances of success I didn't think it was possible.
And then the first time I actually held her, she was so tiny, so they just put her over here inside of my clothes, and I had a mirror where I can see the back of her, and it was just amazing.
It was quite a scary thing to see, but the nurses were absolutely fabulous, explaining everything, showing me like what to do and how to let him know that I was there.
So the nurses who were looking after Taimiyyah, because I was like really poorly, I wasn't going to visit her very often. They would make cards and handprints and stuff and bring it downstairs for me to have a look. And the other thing what the nurses would do is there's this thing called the mini boo. Taimiyyah and we would swap it over. So it's to help us bond, and that was a really nice thing. I've got it all in a memory box, so when I look at it now, I'm just so glad because I missed those times.
When he was 6 days old, he got a perforated bowel. All his tummy was black, and he had to go for an emergency operation, which was probably one of the scariest things that I've ever had to go through. I'd never held him. He was getting wheeled away in this little incubator, and he was so tiny, and it was quite horrendous.
It's really hard. So when I saw the psychologist, it was like my own safe space where I could cry, because I couldn't understand why it had happened. Why was it happening to me? What had I done wrong? So I really needed that, and thankfully the psychologist was there.
After Joshua was released from hospital, we went home. There was no baby groups, there was no socialising. I'm not from this area, so I don't know anybody. So through Tiny Lives, they started holding like little group sessions. So we went to a lot of those. There was baby yoga, baby massage, went to music, movement and sensory. And I knew it was all going to be safe. It was little groups, and it was just really nice to have that bit of communication with other mums.
And parking was really good. Actually, I got a parking permit that I could park my car, because they're so expensive. I think we would have really been struggling. Even like the parent room in the hospital, they provide snacks and drinks and stuff, and those things really, they're really helpful.
I like my girl.
Yes, you like your girl.
I think Tiny Lives is absolutely fabulous, and I don't know how I'd have got through it without them. For all the nurses and doctors are wonderful and they give you a bit of emotional support. They're there for the baby, whereas for Tiny Lives there was somebody there for me and for like how I was doing emotionally, and they were there as much or as little as I wanted or needed. It wasn't forced, it was for when I needed it. It was there.